All right, it's been a few days. Been super busy. I just want to start off with this first story. U.S. Navy racing to recover crashed jet and helicopter from South China Sea. So obviously, I reported on this a long time ago. They say CNN was first reporting on it. No, that was me and Hal Turner. So just wanted to point this out that those aircrafts that crashed in the South China Sea that I reported on first. They're sending an operation to go retrieve it. So I don't know why it took so long, because I think that was like 2 weeks ago or something. It was a while ago, and I don't know why they're just now doing it. I even said in that video, like, I wasn't even sure if Donald Trump knew this happened. Um, and maybe he didn't know for some reason. I was reporting on it. Hal Turner was. And yeah, so I just wanted to point that out that I have some real news. Also, CNN writes that experts warn that both wrecks contain technology China would like to examine. That is exactly what I said in my video. So, and I didn't even get this from CNN. So, that's insane. But just want to point that out that they're gonna go get it. But why did it take so long? Because these aircraft went down and all the crew survived and were rescued. I don't know how that doesn't get up to the top. So obviously someone was hiding it for some reason. He probably made a deal with China to let them steal our secrets. But anyway, just want to say that I've reported on this a long time ago. So moving on, and we'll see what they say after that, because I don't even know if these aircraft are still operational. And then Marjorie Taylor Greene abandoning House seat. So this has to come with after the Epstein Files thing. She had a little feud with Trump, and politically, she basically has to do this because she's probably not going to win a primary. Kevin McCarthy is not there to protect her, and now Trump is not on good terms with her. So politically, I think she just has to go, or she was blackmailed. That's kind of one or the other. Um, and kind of like I said, she said, or Trump said that she's a nice person and that like he doesn't really hate her, and that's kind of what I said would happen. Like they're gonna be friends now again after this. But I think Marjorie's doing this because she's probably not gonna win her primary, and um, she has no one really backing her. And when she leaves in January, the Republicans will have one less House seat unless they replace her quick, which they probably won't. Um, but that's bad because that's going to hurt our chances to push Trump's agenda, especially if the Democrats win the midterms and they're going to try to impeach Trump. Um, you know, they probably will because she won't be there to vote. I mean, her vote matters because she does vote in favor of Trump like 90% of the time, and that's a big deal. So her leaving is going to hurt Trump a little bit because I just don't think they're going to replace her with someone that's equally as on board with Trump. Um, so that could even be difficult as well, even if we get someone pretty good in there. So, or she was blackmailed. That is a possibility. But yeah, it's kind of bad, but it's not the end of the world. She's a House of Representatives. She's not like a Senate leader or anything. So, but she's kind of she was very pro America First. She's been more America First lately, and I really hope that whoever replaces her, at least has that ideology, because we're kind of entering the post-Trump era soon, And we definitely need more America First people in representation and just in Congress, because when Trump leaves, it's not going to be like as easy for our agenda to go through, because Trump won't be there to kind of back us up every time. Because there's still swamp creatures all over Washington. So when Trump leaves, I mean, hopefully JD Vance continues that, but there's no guarantee in that. And then on the lower levels, we definitely need more America First representation. So, so this could be a big deal, because if she gets replaced by someone who's just like a rhino or even a neocon, like, then it would have been better for her to stay. But I guess we'll see. Guess we'll see. So we'll see what Trump says later on, because I think they're going to be friends again after this. So it's not really the end of the world. And then U.S. issues NOTAM over Venezuela and Caribbean Sea, deteriorating security situation. So it's basically a no-fly thing. Um, and by the way, they only do this when it's serious or they're really about to do something, even if it's just a test. They usually do this over countries that they're about to militarily do something in. They did it all the time with other countries, and basically, it, the escalation is heating up in Venezuela. Maduro's kind of gone silent. I mean, he was singing John Legend or John Lennon, um, and he just kept saying war, not or peace, not war. And he's kind of been kind of silent since then. So it looks like both sides are gearing up for a situation. I don't think there's really much negotiations going on anymore. Trump did open a back channel that he could directly talk to Maduro, and I don't think that's been active lately, because it looks like both sides are about to do something and they both know it. Um, so yeah, we'll see. And here's a map of Venezuela. So we'll see what happens. Obviously, something will happen soon. Um, Trump is a negotiator. He probably keeps trying to negotiate so he doesn't have to do a strike, but it looks like that's not really an option. Kind of like the Ukraine situation. Like obviously Zelensky is incapable of negotiating, but he keeps trying anyway, because that's just like who he is. And it's like, it's kind of hurting us more now, because this war should be over. So if I were to guess, they would probably do something in the week, not necessarily on a weekend, um, because I expect this to be kind of big. I do expect to meet the media to like immediately report on this. So we'll see. I could be wrong though. Could do something tomorrow. And then French army general says people need to be prepared to lose their children in war with Russia. So this guy right here, he said, if our country falters because it is not prepared to accept, let's be honest, to lose its children, to suffer economically because defense production will take precedence, then we're at risk. Yeah, so basically he was saying that Russia's gonna invade, and but he was also just kind of insinuating that they're gonna fight Russia for what they did in Ukraine, even though Ukraine has nothing to do with NATO. And he's basically saying we need to continue the fighting against Russia, including our people and our children. I don't know how that could be popular over there. I don't think the French people like that, if it's even being reported over there. So yeah, and I think the same guy or someone else said that the French people need to. Oh no, that was a German guy. He said we need to have the spirit of fighting against Russia or something like that. He was basically saying like we have to fight Russia no matter what happens in Ukraine, and it's just like insane. So yeah, I just wanted to share that, because apparently this really happened. This guy, this general, who has amazing influence, I would assume, is saying this on TV. So we'll see what France does. And then U.S. will likely reach new nuclear deal with Iran, Trump says. Huge deal. So he said they want to make a deal and we will probably reach one. Yeah. So the whole Iran situation is extremely sensitive. It's very sensitive because we know what the deep state in the United States wants. We know what Israel wants. And that's war with Iran. So this has to go smoothly because, yeah, this is a very tense situation. Um, Hopefully we can reach a deal. I know Trump keeps saying no nuclear for Iran, 0% enrichment, right? 0%. I think they should be allowed to have a little uranium enrichment for civility, um, for civil stuff, not nuclear, with inspections and documentation. I think that could be worked in a deal better than Obama. Even though Obama's deal wasn't that bad, it wasn't really as bad as people say it was because they did have some uranium enrichment. And obviously they were breaking those rules. They were over enriching. However, they weren't trying to make a nuclear bomb. It looks like even Tulsi Gabbard said that like a month or two ago or something like that. She had a whole press conference on it. She said, "We have no evidence Iran's trying to make a nuclear power." And that was way before the Trump strikes. So this has to go smooth. I hope the deep state and Israel don't get involved in this. I don't know how they wouldn't. But Trump needs to be smart and just basically make a fair deal with Iran so this whole thing can be over. Because if this goes south, then yeah, there could be some false flags in Iran or Israel or the United States. So that's a big deal because Iran's the final country for the deep state. It's the final country of their 7 that we know of that they talked about back in 2001 specifically with George Bush. And Iran is obviously not backing down. They're not gonna bend the knee, you could say. And it's actually illegal in Iran to have nuclear weapons. They made a fatwa about it, which is basically a legal notice in the Islamic community that they can't have nuclear weapons. So, whatever happens with this deal, I think you'll see Netanyahu get on TV and say they're minutes away from getting a nuclear weapon, no matter what happens. Um, so this has to go smoothly so Trump can realize, like, okay, no, they're not trying to make a nuclear weapon, and even if they are, we're going to personally inspect their facilities because I'm sure that will be worked in the deal. So Trump would like know everything's okay, and basically they wouldn't be at war with Iran, which is what we all want. The whole world wants that. But we'll see because this is tense. They've been waiting since 2001 to take out Iran and before. But, this is a good opportunity for them. So be on high alert. And then Comer threatens contempt proceedings against Clintons if they continue to ignore Epstein subpoenas. So Comer said basically that if Hillary and Bill Clinton ignore their subpoenas, they're going to be arrested, basically for what they did to Steve Bannon and some others. Yeah, I don't know how that's going to go down because I don't know if Comer can do that to the Clintons. I mean, they would probably try to kill him. I mean, we're talking about Hillary Clinton here. But he is kind of famous. A lot of people actually are aware of Comer because of this. So they would have to be careful with that. I just feel like they're going to somehow weasel their way out of this because they're the Clintons and Satan himself is apparently completely protecting them. Like when you think deep state, like Hillary Clinton is definitely one of the first people I think of. So it's like, yeah, they have forces protecting them that are just non-human. I'm not talking aliens. I'm talking like dark, evil forces. Um, and we have no match against that. So yeah. So I don't know what's gonna happen here. I don't know if they're actually gonna be arrested for this. I definitely don't expect them to show up to any hearings. If they do, then like wow, maybe they don't have as much power as they used to, or something. But this is super interesting, and we have to keep our eye on this because this whole Epstein thing obviously needs to be addressed and released and questioned with the right people. So we'll see what happens specifically with the Clintons here. We all know they're guilty. We all know Bill Clinton went to the island multiple times, and probably Zora Ranch. Let's be honest. Um, yeah, so I mean, I personally want to see the Zora Ranch files more than just the Epstein Island files, because that's what most people are looking for in these Epstein files is direct connections, but also the island, because that's kind of what most people know. But Zora Ranch was a whole other ballgame. Um, so hopefully there's something there in the Epstein files. But I just don't see the Clintons going to jail. Like that's insane. Like pretty sure Jesus would come back before that happens. Just because I don't know. It just seems like the dark forces at the highest level are protecting certain people, including Hillary Clinton. Not so much Bill Clinton, but he's definitely in there. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. I'm definitely gonna watch this a lot and pay close attention. Brazil's ex-president Bolsanaro arrested before vigil. So we kind of knew this was gonna happen. They were basically trying to arrest him before this. This isn't the first time. But basically, they were going to have a whole vigil for him and like a lot of his supporters, and he got arrested. Obviously, it's fake. Trump just found out about it today. I mean, I think this happened today. Yeah, he was in custody on Saturday. Um, I don't know if Trump's going to do anything about it. He might just have to make a statement. But obviously, this is what they were trying to do to Trump here in the US in the 2024 election campaign. And Brazil's a different ballgame. So they don't have a Trump running the country. So I don't see Bolsonaro ever getting out of prison for any reason, just because they have that much control if he survives. So super interesting. Just be grateful that Trump is here and he has this divine protection because look, everybody knows that that bullet should have killed him. Um, Trump said that every single person he talked to said it's a miracle, but like it was basically a 100% chance that he was going to get hit in the head and die. And yeah, that's called only God did something. That's called God moved his hand because when humans do something that has a 100% outcome, only God could change that outcome basically. Um, Yeah, and obviously the whole jail thing, they didn't put him in jail, but they tried to, and they were pretty close to actually. Um, and considering how corrupt those courts were that Trump was in, that looked like a hand of God as well. Because I don't know how he didn't go to jail. I mean, I was preparing him for him to go to jail. I really was, so or die. But both look like God protected him. Not saying that God's not protecting this guy. It's just like Brazil has so much corruption and I just don't see a way out for Bolsonaro, but we'll see. And this was a super interesting headline. The experts are telling me 2026 everything comes apart, nothing can stop it. I am not going to read this whole article. It's super long, but I highly suggest you read it. I was reading it earlier. It's super scary, but it's in depth and it's worth reading. And it kind of makes sense. So we'll see what happens in 2026 here, but there's a whole like timeline and everything. It's yeah, we'll see what happens. But I suggest you go read it. And let's see some headlines here. We have MTG. Yeah, the Republican House majority shrinks, just like I was saying. I mean, it's still a majority, but some of these Republicans don't always vote with Trump's agenda. So when you're losing someone who basically always does, we don't really have a majority. It's really kind of even right now, in my opinion. Documents reveal Letitia James lied to bank, insurer, and mortgage fraud scheme. Yeah, we all know. We all saw the documents. Um, yeah, that whole thing is crazy. This whole thing should just end. Just put her in jail. Trump vows to send Somalis back as he ends protected status program in Minnesota. Yeah, that's a big deal. A lot of people are talking about this. But this only came after there was major fraud revealed, which means in other states, other groups are getting the same thing, and Trump just doesn't know about it yet because it wasn't revealed yet. So hopefully Brooke Rollins can do some stuff about that. Is the Bush plan plotting to retake the GOP? So the whole GOP civil war thing is happening. This 2028 election will kind of determine that. So the neocons, the old Republican establishment that Trump basically broke, is going to go all in to try to stay afloat because there's just too many young conservatives who are done with their antics, and we'll see what happens because they're going to go all out, and the young conservatives are going to go all out. So it'll really be a clash. It'll be much more interesting than the Democratic side, who will just have socialists running. I mean, obviously, that'll be a big headline because their policies will be garbage. But on the Republican side, it's really who's the future? Because I fully believe the Democrats are going full socialist the next election cycle. But the Republicans, we don't know yet. We don't know if the neocons are going to take back power after all that with Trump, after all those years. They're just going to go back to everything how it was. Or are we going to put someone in confirmation that is America first? So it's going to be the old Bush, Cheney, McCain, Romney, Republicans who are America last, versus hopefully JD Vance and other people who are going to step up. So we'll see. So that's the 2028 election is going to be super interesting. SCOTUS halts injunction against Texas new congressional map pending for the review. We're going to be seeing headlines like this all the way until the next election, probably as well, because no matter what happens in these states about the redistricting and all this, it's going to be pushed back. Basically, it's going to be sued. The other side's going to sue the other side, and it's just going to be this whole court battle, kind of like Trump with the tariffs right now. Like every day, there's a new lawsuit about a tariff that he keeps having to appeal, that he keeps winning, but it kind of drags the process, which is kind of their plan, to be honest. And yeah, Trump met with Mamdani. He was weirdly affectionate with him, but I don't really think that's much. I think Trump is just kind of playing the cards. A lot of people don't like how nice he was to Mamdani because it seemed like they were in agreement on a lot of things, which Trump said. But if you think about it from the bigger picture, Trump is fully aware that Mamdani needs Trump and his federal money before he can do anything. So if Trump doesn't like any of this stuff, he's going to say no. So I think that's why Trump was in like such a good mood. I don't think it was because he genuinely likes Mamdani, even though he said that. It's all about the money with Trump. Dem lawmakers resist Trump message could face military review. Yeah, that thing was super cringe and obviously wrong. You know, there's a chain of command. The U.S. military is not a democracy. there is a chain of command. So you have to do what your superior says. So I don't think anything is actually going to happen because these guys are protected probably. But yeah, that thing was it was so cringy. It was funny to be honest. Trump's DOE just destroyed Biden's climate bureaucracy. Trump is really going after the green um, policies and just agreements that we've made under Biden, but not just Biden, even before that with Obama. There's still so much Trump has to untangle. Trump has, there's so many policies he needs to undo. Um, DOJ calls on legal professionals to sign up as deportation judges. That could be scary because there's probably infiltration in there where deep staters will probably, kind of like the district courts, will kind of let people go somehow, unless it's overseen by, someone trustworthy. Trump receives 26 freed Israeli hostages families at the White House. Yeah, that's obviously a big deal. They literally said that this wouldn't happen during the campaign, and that was one of the first things he did. So that's just another thing. Dem lawmakers reportedly under 24/7 security after telling troops to refuse illegal orders. Yes, that's the resist Trump message thing. Yeah, so again, they'll probably be like looked into, investigated, but I don't expect anything to happen. These are Democrats. They'll be protected. Trump considering sanctions, military action in Nigeria against Islamicist American Christians. So I really think Trump is waiting on the Nigerian government and military to act first so that he doesn't have to do something because he knows his base wouldn't like that. Um, so I don't know. I have seen the Nigerian government recently, like in the past few days, has been sending troops and trying to find these groups of people that are killing Christians. So they actually are taking action right now. It's not being reported in the news, obviously, but I've seen the evidence. But is it going to be enough? Because if it's not, then Trump is going to do something. Federal judge upholds several U.S. House districts in North Carolina drawn by Republicans. Yeah, see, it's always going to be countered. If Republicans get their way, Democrats will sue. If Democrats get their way, the Republicans will sue. Insane. Jasmine Crockett's explanation for wrongly accusing Republicans of taking money from Jeffrey Epstein is pathetic. Yeah, I didn't know that was real. I thought that was like a satire thing. Um, but basically, Jasmine Crockett said that Lee Zeldin, in particular, took money from Jeffrey Epstein. And it turned out to be a Jeffrey Epstein that wasn't the Jeffrey Epstein. He was like a doctor somewhere. He was like, his name was Jeffrey Epstein. And then she was like, I never made to make that connection, whatever. But that's why I thought it was a satire, because I was like, no way that was her excuse. And she was like, I never said the Jeffrey Epstein, I said a Jeffrey Epstein. As if everyone knows a different Jeffrey Epstein. Children's book marketed to 5-year-olds describes abortion as uniquely human superpower. So they're still trying with these books and our kids. There's something about far left Democrats and people, but far left people and children and their books. It's kind of weird. It's like always a connection there. Just saying. New study finds socialism preferred by 1/3 of churchgoers. Uh, who was that? This was the Epoch Times. Wow. So that's concerning, but depends what kind of churches they're going. If these are like mega churches, then doesn't matter. But I don't even know if that's true, to be honest. Um, Teachers Union faces congressional investigation for spending millions on luxury hotels. Wow, that's a shocker. Teachers Union being corrupt. The left is stubbornly clinging on its trans obsession. Yeah, that's a weird thing too. The left is super connected to trans stuff. It's like they understand the program of trans, and that's trying to depopulate basically. and it's like they love it. They love that ideology. Cops fatally shoot knife-wielding man at major U.S. airport. Just lovely. Imagine going to airport and you see that unfold. Um, yeah, the DNC's financial meltdown could cost Democrats big, so they have to like take out a loan or something. I read to help pay for their campaigns, even though the Republican National Committee has, I think, $86 million or something. So that's a big deal. Um, Rapper receives 14-year sentence for funneling millions to Obama campaign. Wow, that's not the only person to do that. Um, a lot of people were funneling Obama's campaign illegally. Pro-life pregnancy center takes its fight against Democrats' law for SCOTUS. We'll see how that goes. The Supreme Court has been kind of both sides on abortion. They've done some very good things on abortion. They've done some very bad things. Um, so that'll be interesting to see what they say if it goes to the SCOTUS. Despite record NVIDIA earnings, stock analysis urged caution at the AI trade. Yeah, NVIDIA went off like crazy. Um, yeah, the future is AI. We're entering the intelligence age. We're leaving the modern age and entering the intelligence age. So obviously AI stocks are going to be the key here, in my opinion. Trump's $2,000 tariff checks for most Americans comes with a catch. Yeah, it's not going to be everyone. I don't know what the certain number is, and I don't know if it's going to be every single individual either, because I think it might just be a household. So I don't know. But either way, it's free money that is not causing inflation. So enjoy it. U.S. factory activity slows to 4-month low as high prices reduce demand. Yeah, um, the Trump economy is going to really kick in the first few quarters of January. I mean, not January, the new year. And so the U.S. economy will kind of be up and down until then, in my opinion. China eclipses U.S. as Germany's top trading partner. That is a big deal, but we're allies with Germany, so I'm sure we don't really care, to be honest. Bitcoin craters to lowest level in 7 months. Yes, Bitcoin went down hard, but best time to buy. Bitcoin's going back up again. It is the most stable crypto you could get, in my opinion. And by, or not stable, I would say safe. Because if you're doing it long term, it's good. I ain't worried about my money in Bitcoin at all. Middle income Americans increasingly pessimistic about their financial future. Yes, that's true. That probably won't be the case once the Trump economy booms, unless there is a financial collapse, which is what we were talking about earlier. Could happen. That's always a possibility, though, to be honest. Drug maker Eli Lilly hits 1 trillion in market value. Yes, isn't that great? I'm sure they're not corrupt at all. In his largest single layoff, Verizon cutting 13,000 jobs as part of restructuring effort. Oh yeah, this was right before Thanksgiving, by the way. I think this was a couple days ago, actually. Um, but AI is probably going to take over that. It's just saying. So yeah, a lot happened today, or not necessarily today, but the past few days. Um, I expect Venezuela to, or the U.S. to do something in Venezuela, probably this week. There's a NOTAM service out, and we'll see what happens with the Epstein files. Pam Bondi immediately said that we have new information, which means she might not be able to release everything. Just lovely Bondi not doing anything about it. So again, I don't really expect Bondi to release these Epstein files. I think she's gonna have to get fired for not doing it, and then Trump's gonna have to put someone else in. I don't know. Bondi just, I don't trust her. Yeah, and then what else happened today? Yeah, I don't know about that financial collapse. It's basically saying it would have to happen right before the Trump big boom. So we kind of have like this weird time where we're either gonna suffer before the boom or we're just gonna have a boom, which hopefully that'd be great. And like I said, I think Marjorie Taylor Greene's gonna be friends with Trump, especially after she leaves. She's gonna probably help them out, support them. And yeah, so we'll see what happens in Ukraine. Not much has happened there yet, other than the peace plan was proposed that obviously Ukraine rejects. They're never going to accept any deal, in my opinion. So I think Trump should just fast forward from negotiation, but that's not the way he is. So yeah, that's kind of all that's happened. Until then, I'll see you next time.